says, isolation is a struggle for me. I need person-to-person interaction. Had to leave PHP because of the COVID situation. I needed to get back to my family, but now would like to continue with PHP. I was given an administrative discharge and told I could come back anytime. Yes, it is so hard to not have human-to-human interaction right now. I think that clients are feeling that, and therapists are feeling that, and all medical staff. We thrive being with you guys, and that's usually like within close physical proximity, because we want to read your body language, we want to read your facial expression, and so it's hard over Zoom. But, you know, what I've found helps with myself, but also with my clients, is reminding yourself that this is really temporary. And, you know, is a couple months of Zoom worth me relapsing? Because your chance of relapsing is so much higher if you're not in follow-up care, and that looks like PHP, IOP, individual counseling, stuff like that. I miss you, Jennifer. I'm so glad that you are here. It's good to see you too. So Stony, I would say it's just stick with it. Things are getting back to normal really soon, but I feel you, man. I miss face-to-face stuff too. James says he does the same thing. Just try not to think about it. Just keep doing the best you can. Think about everything I have to do for the day, but become overwhelmed. We can only do one thing at a time. So just try to plan everything out. Yeah, that's a big, as I work with clients, I try to figure out what's the common denominator for people that succeed, so I can help them with that process. And I really believe structure, and for a lot of us, that's scheduling your day. You know what I mean? I know that I'm going to go to a meeting at 8 or 7:30, and then after that I'll meditate for however long, or I'll work out, and then I know I'll have to go to PHP, and then I'll go be in PHP until 4, and then what do I do from that gap? From also know where you're vulnerable. If I feel vulnerable from 4 to 10 at night, like fill it up with stuff that fills you up. I'm having technical difficulties, so just bear with me here. All right, so Jill. Hi, Jill. Tell me how you're doing if you can hear me. I'm not sure what's up with this connection. Hopefully it's still working. Very human thing, Jake. Let me see if I can fix this. I'm a little confused. think I'm back. Am I back? Will someone comment? Just let me know if I'm back. I'm a little inept with this. Let's see here. Gabby, I can't read your text or else it'll log me out. Okay, am I back? Nope. Ooh. There we go. Okay, I'm back. Wow, I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm on live news. Sorry, Gabby. Thank you for your patience with me. Okay, let's get back into it. Love this. All right. Melissa, I hope you're still here. She says, I'm 2 years off subs and all opiates / painkillers. I'm white knuckling most of my daily life. My therapist says it'll get better, but I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. She doesn't work with recovering addicts much. I get it. Yeah, I try to avoid telling clients that it'll get better because sometimes it doesn't feel that way. And it usually doesn't make me feel better in the present moment. So white knuckling's hard. You know, whenever I see this question, I think it requires you to do some digging, especially when you're white knuckling. It might mean that you need to do some reassessing as to why you wanted to be in recovery in the first place. So sometimes I'll do inventories with clients that looks at, you know, what was I sitting with when I first decided to get clean? You know, what were some of the consequences that led me to wanting to do this in the first place? And then it can kind of like re-engage you. And for a lot of people, the consequences that most frequently come up are like emotional consequences and relational consequences. And then when it gets more intense, it's legal consequences, occupational consequences. So it's kind of reassessing and saying, you know, I remember how bad it was when I was really depressed and I was really anxious and my family was starting to isolate and my friends were starting to isolate. And I would say too is like, just get re-engaged with people. And whether that means going to 12-step meetings, re-engaging with healthy friends, is just plug back in if you've felt yourself drifting away. And I would say, Melissa, too, is that you're not alone. I think a lot of people feel like, you know, 2 years into it, you can still be white knuckling it. And, you know, sometimes too, and I'm saying this as a person that goes to therapy, is maybe look at getting a new therapist. Sometimes we get stagnant and it's good to switch it up. You know what I mean? And you can openly have that conversation with your therapist and we get it. Let's see here. Recovery Unplugged asked, how do you use music to help cope with stress? Jimmy, I could say how I use music to cope with stress. I love to listen to music when I work out. And then so like usually when I'm anxious and I'm stressed out, that's my body telling me we have pent up energy that we need to release. For more so with clients, I find that there is such an inherent emotional link with music that it takes you out of your stuff. So I find that clients, that if there is a song or a type of music that soothes you, plug it in and put it on your speakers as loud as you can and dance. I know that like when clients are with us, sometimes the pump up thing is like, it gets nerve wracking because we dance in the morning, but like dancing gets you out of your stuff. You know what I mean? I'm a firm believer in dancing every day. Lisa, I've been suicidal due to my using again since the isolation. How do I get back on track with no support system? Okay. So it's a really good question to ask, Lisa, and I appreciate your bravery. One thing I would say is, so we have to look at, I want you to look at your suicidality and say, do I have the intent to harm myself with a plan? And if so, we gotta, you can either message me or you can call someone at Recovery Unplugged and we can get you plugged up with something that can help. Or are you feeling like you just don't totally want to live anymore? And there's like, we call that kind of passive suicidal ideation. So you really have to be diligent, engaging how serious it is. And if you feel like you have the intent and the means to harm yourself, just go to the emergency room. To be honest with you, it's like, it's not worth losing your life over. And getting plugged in with the support system. Go, you know, Zoom online meetings for recovery are really good. Also, you could probably contact someone at Recovery Unplugged if you're an alumni with us, and we can get you hooked up with a certain level of care if you feel like you need it. It's a good question. We're here with you. I'm sorry you're struggling. Can I message you privately to talk, doctor? You can message, so you'll be able to message Recovery Unplugged. But if there's something deeper going on, you can probably ask here, and I can ask Melissa. And also, I'm not a doctor. I'm a master's level therapist. I wish I was a doctor. Maggie says, thanks, Gabby. I currently left my hometown and went across the country to sober home. I feel like I need to get back to my home area and start my sober life there, because eventually that's where I'll be going back to. Why start a new job here when I'm going to have to leave? I came across country because I felt I needed to get away from distractions, but there are distractions everywhere. Your thoughts? Maggie, I feel like I have this conversation with clients a lot, and it's a tough one to answer. So I would say that there's usually a reason why you have to leave home in the first place. And it's, you know, when we say distractions, I don't think it really depicts what all was going at home that facilitated our addiction. So often you need to change your people's places and things. And I'm a firm believer that, like, so you said, how long has it been? I don't know how long it's been since you've been in this new space, but like, I'm saying this as a therapist, just give it a little bit more time. I know it's hard, but I know going to a new place, it just takes some adjustment. And usually going to a sober living, if your home environment was unhealthy, is a really big step and a big move for your recovery. It's a tough one. Thank you, Melissa. Oh, it's been 3 weeks. Okay, so I would say probably give it just a little bit more time. If you by 2 months are really sure that it's not a good fit, before jumping into going straight back home, I would say like maybe check out one more sober living if you have the energy for it. That's my answer. I feel you, Maggie. It's a tough one. It's tough to feel like you don't totally belong somewhere. It feels like it's a bad fit. Gabby asks, do you think that pets can help in the healing process? And if so, why? I was hoping someone would ask this question. They have designated emotional support animals for a reason. And I am a huge animal lover. I've worked with horses, I've worked with alligators, I've had animals my whole life, snakes, and they have always consistently been emotionally supportive. They help you de-stress, they help you develop compassion. Also, we're talking about a schedule. Animals really help you with a schedule, especially if you have a cat like mine who wakes you up at 4 a.m., who just wants to talk. Yeah, I would say, but also animals, I feel like very parental, but animals are a lot of responsibility. So just feel, if you're in early recovery and you're trying to get your own stuff together, just puppies can be a lot. So pace yourself. But yes, animals are wonderful. I recommend equine therapy if anyone out there is interested. Animals can, especially horses, can read our body language really well and help us identify ways in which our body language is pushing people away. It's really cool. Good questions. Wonder how I see how many people are on here. Oh, 14. Cool. Ask some questions, y'all. Don't feel nervous. It's like free therapy. Kind of. More just like free support. Let me address this too. If you feel that you are at risk for suicide, or some people I think have a hard time too knowing how depressed they are. And so number one, a therapist can help you determine that. I use an assessment, and actually I could recommend this on here because you can get it online. It's called the Beck, B-E-C-K, Depression Inventory. If you just do a Google search, it might be like the first or the second thing that comes up. And it's like maybe a 20-item assessment that can help you see how depressed you are. And so I use that all the time with clients, and it helps them look at their depressive symptoms like from a objective view. Depression can be very sneaky as well. Sometimes we don't know we're depressed, and we're depressed. And so if you start having those thoughts of, I'd be okay if I didn't live anymore, low energy, your self-esteem is not so good, seek out help. Because also what we see is a lot of people in active addiction get pretty depressed. So I'll just stick on here. I'm happy to sit around and surf the internet until we get more comments. These are great so far. Lisa, what are your hours for me to call? I think the number that she gave you, you can call at any, 24/7. So please, Lisa, if you're feeling uneasy or you need support, I would call. And then again, if it feels like really intense, I would say just go to the emergency room. Awesome, Frida. That's so awesome. 89 days or years? 89 years would be pretty intense. Jason asks, how is staying accountable more important now than ever? Did I say that? Either way. I would say accountability is just integral for mental health. It's like when you know that you can rely on yourself, like when I know that I will make sure I'm at therapy on Thursdays at 4, and when I know that I can wake up 3 days a week to go work out, you just, when you feel like you can rely on yourself, and you're holding yourself accountable, you just feel better. You know what I mean? And I think too, it's like when you're in recovery and you're taking it day by day, the more time that you have, like Frida, for instance, 89 days sober, I would hope that like there's something there brewing. It's like, okay, I can do this. I can hold myself accountable. Just keep taking it day by day. How'd you do it, Frida? 89 days.